Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Germana Rovinelli. I am wanting to share some ideas with you about creating health. Basically, my experience, I've been in the industry of health and fitness as a professional for 31 years, and what I've really watched over the last, I would say 15 years, is a general decline in people's overall health, and I think a lot of that is related to lifestyle and stress. So what I'd like to do is just share some inspirational ideas with you today that may inspire you to kind of look at yourself and ask yourself, are you happy with the way things are physically for you? Are you happy with the way things are emotionally for you? Are you content and happy, or are things kind of not so great and you're kind of ignoring them until perhaps they get worse, which is what a lot of people do. I've shared that I've seen a lot of people wait until they're in really severe crisis before they reach out. And it's easier if you take charge of the solution earlier than waiting until your body is really, really unhappy. So I'm just going to cover off 3 tips to create a healthy lifestyle in the year 2016. I believe about 10 years ago it was easier because we had less distractions. We live in the age of distracted, and what that means is we're forgetting how to look after ourselves and to carve out time for our own wellness. My one teacher always said, if you want to help people, you have to help yourself. You have to put yourself first. Otherwise, you cannot help people. And that goes for all of us. If we want to have a functional life, we need to put our own health and wellness first. Otherwise, it just can't work. So the first tip that I'm going to offer you is to reach out and get support from people or systems or ideas that inspire you. If you know of someone that's achieved a level of success or mastery, or they're walking and talking in a way that you're inspired, then I would suggest that you reach out to that person to ask, can you help me? So we're actually talking about a mentor, someone who can guide you, who can take you by the hand to help you avoid the pitfalls that do happen to all of us as we age. I mean, aging is difficult, but we can do it with grace and dignity. And there's a really lovely saying, insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if what you're presently doing is not working, and say, you still got aches and pains in your body, or you still got some weight issues, or you still got foggy thinking, or you're still feeling low and blue, I would suggest that you reach out and do something different, anything other than what you are doing. I've always learned that when I have someone teaching me and guiding me, I thrive because I have someone who can inspire me and show me my blind spots. We all have them. Everyone does. And sometimes all we need is someone to say, hey, why don't you try this and see what happens, and listen to how your body responds. Your body is incredibly intelligent. Most of us are busy listening to our head, but we're not listening to our heart. And your real intelligence, your real wisdom, your real jewels for living, right here. Not here, but here. So sometimes we need someone just to sort of give us some direction there. The second tip is to really get honest with yourself and reevaluate what matters to you. Again, we all come to a crossroads in our life. We're like, is this working for me, or is this not working for me? Am I happy? Am I not happy? Am I just dragging myself through, or do I actually, have a skip in my step? And if you're experiencing low energy, low mood, just overall unwellness, then it's really important to look at what energy depleting people, places, and things are in your life, and start to get those out of your life. Sometimes we become that energy depleting thing because the way we look at things, the way we think about things, because we might feel trapped. So then we want to reevaluate what we're doing that's creating the problem and what we can do that changes the problem into a solution. And you reintroduce energy building things. That can be activities. I find that people, once they exercise, they feel so much better than when they don't. A lot of people just put it off, and then they've got, more weight. They might have diabetes. They might have chronic pain symptoms. They might not be able to sleep well. And all of those things can gently be remedied by activity. Generally, they get better if the body gets that attention. One really important thing is our thoughts. What we think about over and over becomes our reality. One of my teachers, who was a 9th Dan black belt from Okinawa, Japan, said, whatever you fantasize about, you manifest. So if you think about what are your thoughts, are they about something that makes your life better, or are you focusing on things that create dread and fear? So yeah, that's just about being conscious and mindful. What are my thoughts doing? If my thoughts were a request, an order from the universe, what am I asking the universe to give me? And if you find that they're not helpful thoughts, if they're fear thoughts, then it might be helpful to reintroduce some healing meditation. You might consider doing a little bit of hypnotic work, because that reprograms how you look at things. You might do some affirmation work. You might just look at where those thoughts lead to, and if they're creating positive, loving energy for you, keep going. If they're not, then I would suggest that you reevaluate and stop that. Food is super important. It's really more difficult now for us to get foods that are really nutritionally balanced. So what I would suggest is, start with as natural as possible foods, meat that's farm raised, and eggs that are from farms locally, and fruit and vegetables and some grains in moderation. But we need to eat the way caveman ate, and if we're not doing that, we're actually hurting our bodies. And we live in a society where we're all just instant gratification, and yet there's a price tag for eating synthetic foods. Our body cannot absorb nutrients from sub-quality material, and then our body becomes sick and our tissues become sick, and we eventually pay the price because we're putting in sub-quality materials for our body. And my experience is your body is your temple. If your body is not well, your life is very, very, very difficult, and suffering becomes the norm. Resting is super important. I found as I'm floating into my 50s that if I don't rest regularly, I'm really, really, really unwell. And so part of that is just listening to intuition, listening to the body, napping if you can. And, if you can't, that's okay. But don't beat yourself up if you need to have a nap. If you need to sleep a little bit more, do it. And if you have the energy and you're bouncing around, well, great. Enjoy it while you have it, but use it wisely. And something that's also quite helpful is looking at what makes you feel good about yourself. What allows you to be happy from the inside out? Not material things, but your heart happy, where you're feeling positive, you're feeling comforted, you're feeling happy to be alive. Those are so, so, so important. This shirt here just says the word believe. And whatever we believe we deserve, we typically attract. And if we believe that our life is getting better and that our health is improving and that we can do something, we actually create that. If on the other hand, we believe that it's just a waste of time and it's not going to work and all of that, we've already defeated ourselves before we start. So sometimes, again, going back and doing some mental, emotional work on the inside changes the viewpoint of how you see yourself moving forward. And our internal world, how we feel about ourselves, mirrors how the outside world comes to us. So if our insides are unhappy, and maybe we're sad, maybe we're hurt, maybe we're resentful, maybe we're disappointed with life, if we clean that up, then our lives will work. Versus the opposite, what a lot of people do is they try to control the outside world to change the inside, and it can never work. All we do is then sabotage. So it's really important to kind of go, what do I need on the inside? Am I heart happy or am I heart sick? And it happens to all of us that life beats us up and we get disappointed. And then it comes back to, what do I need to bring happiness or peace or joy back into my life? And again, then you go back to reaching out again. What can I do? Who can help me? Who can help me walk the walk? The third tip is to be patient with your body and your health. Our body is an orchestra of systems. There's physical systems, there's mental systems, there's emotional systems, and then there's that part of us that's intangible. We'll call it a soul or a spirit. And sometimes we live in a society that doesn't acknowledge that we're more than our physical body. Our body is just something we live in. We look after it like a car or a house, and it becomes an easier place to hang out. If we neglect our body, or if it gets hurt, which it happens, then The question is, how do we tend to it? How do we bring it back to health? Sometimes I'll ask people, if you had a child that had the problems that you're suffering with, how would you love that child forward? Or if you had a best friend, how would you support that person forward? How would you encourage them? And those very, very answers that you would give to that child or your best friend would be the answers that I would ask you to consider giving to yourself. We are very, very powerful. Our minds are very, very powerful. We don't use much of that because we're so busy being distracted, and yet the real outcome comes from focusing and getting clear. What is it that you want out of your life with however many years are left? What is it that you want to experience in your body? What is it that you want to have in relationships with others? What's your relationship like with yourself? Are you happy with yourself? Do you need to have some help? And if you do, go back to number one, reaching out, getting some support, getting some direction, getting a program or a formula that you can utilize to help you get on track. And then again, reevaluate what matters. Get rid of energy depleting people, places, and things, because they're like poison, and reintroduce energy enhancing people, places, and things. People that lift you up. People that allow you to feel good about being a human being, not a human doing. And then again, be patient. Your body has incredible intelligence, and if you give it the support and the environment for optimal health, it will do so. So I hope that I've inspired you to give yourself the gift of health. Give it to yourself. It's the most important thing you can ever have. And if you at any time would like to speak with me or email me or just ask me for some information on how I might be able to give you some direction, I'd be honored. My cell number is 250-714-4369, and my email is g@germana, germana.ca. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you.